Well, when we take meditation at large, it branches into two paths. I don't know whether you are familiar with the term of abhidhamma. There is some deep science in Buddhism. So when you say mindfulness, the simple definition of mindfulness is that you are aware of the present status of mind. So Buddha is not an authority. Now I am a monk, I am ordained in the Buddhist practice, but Buddha is not my higher authority. When I say it's an illusion, don't believe it. Right? The next question which should come to your mind is, why is it an illusion? Why do you say it's an illusion? These are spiritual definitions when I say high energy, right? It's not an energy which you can calculate using any technical device. Mindfulness is a mental muscle. We have muscles in our body. If you want to improve the muscle strength, you have to work out in a gym. Mind also have muscles. All the emotions are muscles. If I ask you a simple question, how do you feel right now? In your mind, how do you feel? So actually I had the pleasure to speaking to a couple of your friends just before the session, and what I gathered is that they have ample knowledge about the subject, and it's really good that there is a basic knowledge about Buddhism. Anyway, I hope that everyone might have questions. If you are ready to shoot some questions about the philosophy or any about Buddhist culture or the practice, I'm more than happy to receive them. Then based on those questions we can go forward step by step, explaining what is the philosophy and what are we going to do in this session and what is the Buddhist spiritual practice is all about. Is there any particular question that you're keen to ask at the moment? Yes.
Yeah, I don't know specifically about Buddhist meditation, but I've heard people describe meditation as the same thing as mindfulness. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering, is there a difference or is it the same?
Yes, it's a very good question. From there we can start our explanation through the spiritual path. Well, when we take meditation at large, it branches into two paths. One is stillness meditation, the other one is mindfulness meditation, right? So the basic fundamental difference between stillness and mindfulness meditation is, in stillness meditation, you observe your mind and you are not happy about the current status quo of the mind. And you have an ambition to elevate that status quo. You get it? You want to elevate the status quo. So then you're in a process, in a mental process, where you elevate, advance the current situation of the mind. So for that, you have to do stillness meditation. But in mindfulness meditation, there is no ambition, no expectation of elevation the status quo of the mind. You just want to observe what happens in the mind at the moment, in the present moment. So you're simply an observer. You don't want to advance or elevate or reach a status quo in mind in particular. So that is mindfulness meditation. Did you get it?
Yes, it's hard to understand unless you experience it.
Right, it's like this. I will tell you now. If I ask you a simple question, how do you feel right now? In your mind, how do you feel at the moment?
Okay.
You feel okay, right? But when you feel okay, you don't want to take your mind to somewhere else, because now you're fine, you're happy, you're content with what you are. But imagine a moment that you're not happy. In such a moment, would you want to stay in that particular?
Of course not.
No. Right. Then you want to elevate your mind, take your mind to somewhere else, right? That is stillness. You're trying to still your mind. But if you are practicing mindfulness meditation, let's say you are angry, you are not going to change it. You observe the emotion of anger extensively. You try to observe the borders of it, and there are particular ways, steps. First you start with the body, right? With every emotion, what happens to the body? When you're angry, if you're practicing mindfulness, right, then you observe with anger, what happens to my body? That is the first step, the primary step in mindfulness meditation. There are 4 steps. The first one is that, observing what happens to the body during a particular emotion. So likewise with every emotion, lust, envy, jealousy, love, kindness, compassion, each emotion demonstrates different characteristics in one's body.
So
Yes.
mindful meditation is kind of accepting the emotions and understanding what they're doing to me. Is that correct?
Yes, simply put, yes.
Okay.
That
So
means,
if I'm angry, I accept that I'm angry and realize that maybe my blood pressure, my heart rate, all that's going up, and then I try to calm that down.
now I will go to a particular, I don't know whether you are familiar with the term of Abhidhamma. There is some deep science in Buddhism. I'm sure that you might have visited some temples during your stay. So in there that you find different cultural practices. But when you go into deep philosophical part of Buddhism, there is a particular part called Abhidhamma. In Abhidhamma, Buddha describes emotions of one's mind. Right? Now, how many emotions are you aware of in yourself?
Many. I mean, you're angry, you're happy, you're
2,
sad,
3.
envious, jealousy.
Yes,
I mean, there's a lot of them.
A lot. And do you know, in Abhidhamma, Buddha has identified 52 such emotions.
Okay.
52 such emotions, right? And he identified those 52 emotions as fundamental building blocks. Those are fundamental building blocks of human existence. And he called it as Paramartha Dharma. Paramartha. Paramartha means the fundamental dharmas. Those are like atoms. Those are like neutrons. We are all made of that. The body, the physical body is made of neutrons, positons, protons, such, so and so. But the mental body is made of dharma. So emotions, 52 emotions plus, there's a lot more than that. 52 emotions are such building blocks. So the fundamental dharma, there is a nature of fundamental dharma that you cannot destroy it. And you cannot create something new. Right? The only thing which is possible, you can convert one dharma into another. The conversion can happen. Like the energy can be converted, but you cannot destroy any emotion totally. Or you cannot generate a new emotion as you please. Those are fundamental things. So now when we say anger and we are frustrated with anger, we can't help because it's a fundamental nature. You cannot destroy it. with stillness meditation, you can convert that anger into a different energy. Anger into compassion or somewhat. But what happens in that process, you have to do it all the time. Because you have in deep ambition to destroy, get away from anger, which we cannot, because it is a fundamental building block of one's existence. So in mindfulness, it helps you, as you said, to accept it as it is. What is your good name?
Chris.
Okay, Chris. Now, are you happy at the moment?
Yes.
Are you accepting happy Chris?
Yes.
Now, when you are angry, you're angry Chris. Will you accept angry Chris?
Yes, if there's a reason. Like I try to figure out why I'm angry and fix it. I like to fix things.
Yes.
Which is probably my problem.
True enough. Fixing will happen after. What we'll have to do first? You have to accept.
Accept it. Okay.
Once you accept only, you can fix anything. It's like this, let's say, now cancer has become a tremendous problem all around. There are certain cures for certain cancers. But the most disadvantage a patient would have is not identifying cancer in the first stage. So the reason for death is cancer. But that death happened because he couldn't identify the cancer at the first stage. Right? So similarly, the anger, the first thing is, first you have to identify it. Then only you can fix it. Right?
That makes sense.
Right? So when you say mindfulness, the simple definition of mindfulness is that you are aware of the present status of mind. That is mindfulness. You're aware of the present status of mind. When we say the present moment, it's a very minuscule time. In the very moment when I say present, it has gone to the past. So the mindfulness is not a place, it is not a static event. Right? You have to flow with it. You are aware about the present moment, and in the very next moment you are aware about the very next moment. It doesn't matter whether you are angry in the first moment and sad in the second moment, kind in the third moment, it doesn't matter. You accept whatever it is. Then the next question comes, why do we have to be mindful? Why do we have to be mindful? Why? What is the reason to be mindful? Right? Why am I asking this? Now, Buddhism talks about cause and effect. Right? Buddha says, for every effect, even for this situation right now that we are having a discussion at this particular place, at this particular moment, there is a cause for this. It doesn't happen randomly. We might feel it as a random experience, but every random experience has random causes at least. Right? Every effect comes with causes. Right? There is no magic in the existence. That is one of the fundamental understanding in Buddhist philosophy. Right? So, since it's a cause and effect, right? There is no authority in Buddhism. Right? Because everything happens because of causes. So Buddha is not an authority. Now I am a monk, I am ordained in the Buddhist practice, but Buddha is not my higher authority. Right? Buddhism always promotes investigation. That is why I want you to investigate, why do we need mindfulness? Now if I simply say you have to be mindful, I am the authority, I am prescribing my ruling upon you and you have to be mindful. Don't ever do that. Right? In the very moment when someone in a robe or in a denim would ask you to do something, the next question which would pop up, why should I do it? Why should I be mindful? Right? What do you think? Why should you be mindful?
I think for observation, and it makes you present. You're not thinking of I can't change the past, and I can't control the future, but I could be here and paying attention right now. So I mean, that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
If I'm worried about what's going to happen 3 days from now, it's going to happen anyway.
Okay. Well, that's one good reason to be mindful. But the exact reason to be mindful is a bit frightening. Right? Buddha says to be mindful because now if we are not mindful, even though without mindfulness, we perceive the world. We experience this. Even though you're mindful or not, you perceive things. When you eat, you taste it. Right? When you have any fragrance, you can smell it. You can perceive, you can experience the world being mindful or without being mindful. Right? If our experience is real, then there is no need of being mindful. If what we experience is real, it is not mandatory, it is not at least necessary to be mindful. But the issue is, what we experience is not real. Maybe since you have your lineage to India, you might have heard the term of Maya. The illusion. The concept of illusion. There, the Buddhist philosophy says, whatever there in the outside world, whether it exists or not, what we perceive is an illusion.
Before we fall asleep, there's something called the hypnagogic state, where the mind is sort of... Is there a difference between meditation and that?
Well, that's a good question. Now, you are talking about the dreaming stage.
No. Before you fall asleep, there's a state called it's called hypnagogic, where you're half asleep, half awake.
Right. Well, in meditation, you're in such a state, but with full awareness. With full awareness. Right? That's the only difference, right? Now, if I continue with what I was explaining about the illusion, right? Now, why do I say, when I say it's an illusion, don't believe it. Right? The next question which should come to your mind is, why is it an illusion? Why do you say it's an illusion? Why? It is this. Now, yes, we cannot reject for a moment, there is something existing. No? Maybe not, right? But for now, we see there is something existing in the outside world. The colors. Look at these colors around you. Look at the space around and look at the people next to you. Something is there. Maybe not. Right? But how do we experience this reality? Through 5 senses, plus the mind, through 6 senses. Eyes, nose, ears, the tongue, the skin, and the mind. Right? Now, when we see things through our eyes, not only eyes, all these 6 senses goes through 2 sieves. It has been sieved by 2 events. First one is a physiological event. Second one is a psychological event. Right? What is the physiological event? Every one of us have limitations in our senses. Now you have to wear glasses to see me, but she doesn't have. That's a limitation. It differs. And a man and woman, there are certain levels of identification of colors. Men's clothing are always dull, black, brown. Why is that? Because the men cannot differentiate colors as much as women. But when you go to the women's department at a clothing store, you can find different green colors. For us, it's just simply green, but you have Australian green, grass green, and some green, and that green. Lot of range and array of greens. That's because a physiological difference between human female eye and the male eye. So I don't have to repeat this to all the other senses. Each of us have limitations which differs from your experience, physiological experience from hers. So when you experience differently through your senses, can you be 100% sure that you are seeing the same reality that she does? But the reality cannot be like that. Buddha identified it. This was 2500 years ago. And even in the Vedic scripts, Shiva, Vishnu, all these sages, they identified it. There is a physiological barrier for our experience which makes us to live in different realities, not in the same reality. Second barrier is a psychological event. That depends on the data which we have. Now let's say, I am talking in English. And you can understand it. Why? You have the English vocabulary inside you. The data is there. If I start to preach in Sinhala, will you understand? You might know Ayubowan. You know Ayubowan? That's the only thing, because you have the data. Right? Can you see, this is data driven. The psychological barrier is data driven. And a youngster, a Gen Z population might know about these smartphones more than you. But if you're given a cutting edge technology device, you don't know how to handle it. That all depends on the data in the mind. That's another tremendous barrier which limits or expands the human experience. First one is a physiological barrier. Second one is a psychological barrier. Now just imagine, we say we experience the world. But can it be the same? The world which I experience is different from the world that you experience. There are about 9 members here at this forum. We do not dwell in same Sri Lanka. You have not lived in same US. We are not in this universe, the same universe. We are in 9 different universes. Right? That is why there's a problem about the reality that we experience. Now what was my question? Why we should be mindful? Unless we are mindful, we think we live in the same experience. Unless we are mindful. But if we are mindful, then we know we live in different realities. Now, just recollect some of your old memories where you had your last argument with your husband or wife or your daughter or children or your co-workers. You were fighting with another individual. He says something. He says, there is 6 here. You say, no, there is 9 here. Seeing letter 6 from this angle is my experience. But from your angle, yes, you are right, you see the number 9. But you were arguing. We were in a conflict with each other, not knowing that we experience 2 different realities. That is why Buddha says we have to be mindful and simply know that we live in 2 different experiences. Yes.
There's a famous story of 3 blind men describing an elephant.
Yeah.
One has the tail, another has the trunk, another has the foot, and they all have a different perception of what they're feeling.
Can you see? If we are not mindful, our limited experience will say that what we see is reality. Right? Now, then, why, when there is a conflict, what is the problem there? when there is an experience, every human experience comes along with emotions. Every experience generates emotions. Now this experience might generate some certain emotions, different emotion inside. When you confront a friend, a different emotion. When you confront your children, someone you really care, more than a friend, a different emotion. When you confront an enemy, a different emotion. Every confrontation triggers creation of different emotions. Right? We have a constant struggle within with our emotions. We have basically differentiated emotions into two clusters. One cluster, happy emotions, soothing emotions, wonderful emotions. The other cluster, bad emotions, suffocating emotions. Do you know why do we have this differentiation? It's because of the level of energies generated by each emotion. When a particular emotion generates high energy, it's very discomforting. Anger is a high energy emotion. Lust is a high energy emotion. Jealousy is a high energy emotion. Because of that energy level is very high, we feel so discomfort. But love is a low energy, soothing energy emotion. Kindness is a soothing energy emotion, so we can deal with it.
So the concept of perception is reality is a basic Buddhist concept?
Yes, the concept that the experience is non-real. The experience is non-real is a Buddhist concept, right? But it doesn't say that there is nothing there, right? You might have heard the concept of non-self, right? Now you think that there is a self inside you, right? That I exist, right? But in Buddhism, there is a very deep concept saying it is actually non-self. There is no self. That is why Buddha didn't want to create an authority. If there is authority, there is self. If there is non-self, there is no authority. Yes?
I'd like to clarify something about what you said about the high and low energy emotions. Would you say that high energy emotions are always or often negative? What about something like joy? Couldn't that, it seems to me, to be high energy?
Yes.
And
Well,
so how would you manage a high energy, very positive emotion?
Yes. In this spiritual context, these are spiritual definitions when I say high energy, right? It's not an energy which you can calculate using any technical device, right? In the spiritual nomenclature, high energy means all the discomforting side, which are very, now it happens like this. I will tell you the spiritual explanation here. Now let's say, now I asked Sumedha to provide me a warm glass of water. And this is actually a little bit warm, right? Why do I sense the warmness here? What is the reason for me to sense the warmness? It is because my hand is colder than this glass. If my hand is warmer than the glass, if I touch it, this is basic physics, I will feel it as cold. So feeling hot or cold has nothing to do with the temperature of one unit. It's always relative to the one who senses it, right? To the one who senses it. So in spiritual sense, everyone has a basic life energy, right? It's a general average life energy, right? And there are emotions which generates low energy than our average energy. Those, even joy is low energy. It doesn't mean that, now I know that the misconfusion happens when we are joyful, we are so active. It's not in that sense, right? It provides, let's better say, rather than saying low energy, a soothing energy, right? The joy provides a soothing energy, right? And we can deal with it because our life energy is higher than the soothing energy, therefore we can deal with it. But if a particular emotion carries an energy greater than that, our life energy is lesser than that, then we will feel it warm. It's uncomfortable. Do you understand? Or do
so.
Can I?
I think
yes.
I view it as, if we think of our self as being a driver in a vehicle, there are some emotions that remove the self as the driver and put themselves in it. When you hear people being enraged or full of jealousy, we accept this in legal principles, that they are not cognizant of their actions. They are out of control. So I view there are certain things that will trigger me having emotions that it's no longer me. My perception has been very narrowed. I'm very much focused on just that feeling. Whereas there are positive emotions where we see the splendor in nature and we actually notice a lot more. Whereas I can go hiking and I'm really upset with who I'm with, or I stumbled on a tree root and I no longer notice a lot of it. Effectively, the mind ends up tunneling, and that means that's the same reason I don't drink. I like to have full perception.
Well, that's a good comment. Because now my first question was, why should we be mindful? My answer was that because there is an issue with the reality that we experience. And this is another answer for that particular question. The problem of reactions and responses. When we are not mindful, or our mindfulness is weak, we tend to react more than responding. Right? That's why you say that you drive a chariot, but when you're angry, you were chasing out, and anger will drive the chariot. That is reacting. You're simply reacting. But when you increase the mindfulness gradually, the level of reactions will decrease. Responses will come up. Then you will start to respond. But responding means, it doesn't mean that anger is no longer there. Anger is still there. But now you're the one who is handling anger. Right? What happens here, it's like this. Now, you might have seen this experience in your washrooms, bathrooms. Now your bathroom floor is totally wet, and you just drop some soapy water. You can see it drives away all the water molecules, creating a circular area, right? So mindfulness also does the same to our mind, right? It's like this. You're here and your thoughts are here. You and your thoughts. The mind and the thoughts. There's a difference between that. In Buddhist philosophy, I told you that thoughts, emotions are building blocks, and mind is a different building block. Right? Generally what happens in a non-mindful mind, the thoughts and yourself are all entangled. You and thoughts are totally entangled. You and emotions are totally entangled. But if you put a drop of mindfulness, this thoughts, emotions and yourself will separate. Then you become an observer of your own thoughts and own experience. When you are amalgamated, totally entangled, what you can do is only react to situations. In every confrontation, every experience, you react. Because when you go forward, the emotions also go forward. When the emotions go forward, you also go forward. Because they are connected. But when they are separated, it's a different thing. Then the responses will start. So if you have developed your mindfulness through an exercise, mindfulness can be developed through exercises. That is what we wanted to do in the last session. I don't know whether we have enough time to do that, right? Now, if you level up your mindfulness, then there is always a separation of your thoughts, emotions, and yourself.
When people have reported out-of-body experiences, is that what you're referring to? Like, if you start to put somebody under anesthesia, one of the stages they can go through where they can perceive that they're seeing themselves and near death.
Yeah, that's actually this near-death experience things. There are certain things that we have to rectify in those events. Now, they say that they can see their own body from the top. When they declare such experience, what we think is that our mind goes up and we look at it. That is the very idea which comes to our mind. But actually, that is not what actually happening. It's a different thing. I don't know whether we have enough time to, because now in spirituality, now if you have a very, very, very sharp mindfulness, there are certain experiences which we can get about the mind, right? It's not the world that we experience right now, it's a different world. There is a point where you can see this mental projection. Mental projection has no space, no time, right? When we say that you go out from the body and look, there is a gap between yourself and the body, that means there is space. But in projection, there is no such thing as space. There is one point, from there the projection starts. So without taking you into a deep thing which will, it's a bit complicated if I explain it and pose it halfway through, right? Because the time that we have is limited. What I want you to introduce is certain exercises which we can do to increase the level of mindfulness. Because now you know what mindfulness is. You know what is the importance of mindfulness, right? We discussed it. Now then the third one you should ask, or I should say, is how to develop this mindfulness, right? And look at it like this, right? Mindfulness is a mental muscle. We have muscles in our body. If you want to improve the muscle strength, you have to work out in a gym. Mind also have muscles. All the emotions are muscles. Love is a muscle. Kindness is a muscle. Anger is a muscle. If you say that you are angry all the time, that means you have worked out a lot. The muscle anger has worked out a lot. And you say you are less kind, that means you have not worked out the kindness much. And you can work it out and improve the strength of it. So mindfulness is also a muscle which we can work out and improve. So in mindfulness exercises, the basic thing, you should not misunderstand it with stillness. There is no way to travel. There is nothing to reach here. You don't have to change yourself. So stillness is out. You don't have to quiet your mind. No need. If your mind is quiet at the moment, you accept it. If your mind is restless at the moment, you accept it. It's different, right? And then only you can work out the mindfulness muscle. Otherwise, the mindfulness muscle will not work out, right? So there is what I always suggest is to introduce a daily practice to one's life, which it's better to do it as the first thing in the morning. The first hour during the day. Why? If you just procrastinate it, you will not do it. So once you wake up, let's say you're waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 to 7 is the time to invest on yourself. Investing on yourself, look at it in that angle. And you can partition your 60 minutes time into 3 events. 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. First 20 minutes, do a simple exercise to warm up your body. Why I say simple? Because I can see your age. If you work out too hard, you won't be able to meditate later on. Right? So do a simple exercise. But if you have somebody that young guy or a girl, ask them to do rigorous exercises for 20 minutes. Until they sweat. Until you sweat. Sweaty body is a well-prepared body to practice on mind. Because you cannot simply focus on the mind and develop mindfulness. You need the support of the body. Yoga, it was there because for that. Right?
You do yoga every morning.
For 20 minutes, if you can do yoga, you know how much you sweat, right? 20 minutes sweating. And about that exercise, you have to say it should not be monotonous. It's better if it is not monotonous. If you run 20 minutes on a treadmill, it's better more than that if you change different exercises. Let's say now if you cannot do it like that, just run for 20 minutes at least. Right? Then the next 20 minutes, you just simply sit somewhere comfortably, right? But make sure that you're well grounded without shoes, right? And just look at your body. Let's see whether you have kept. Can we do this along with me?
Sure.
Right? Would you be able to remove your shoes and ground yourself? Is it difficult for you? If it is difficult, it doesn't matter. But so 20 minutes, what you do is exercise. Then the next 20 minutes, there is no rush here. You just simply see whether you have kept your arms, palms and legs in the most comfortable position which is possible. To you, not to me. But I will tell you from my experience, don't keep your legs, if you are sitting, it's very nice if you can keep like that. If you are sitting, don't keep your legs crossed. It will become uncomfortable in a minute. Right? If you are sitting on a chair, just rest it most comfortably. Then the next position which has to be corrected is that you try to maintain an upright position. Right? If you have something to support your back, that's fine. And the next one, your chin should be parallel to the floor. Because it will help you to identify when you fall asleep during meditation. When you keep your face fronting outward and chin parallel to the floor, if you feel sleepy, your head will tilt like this. So then you can identify quickly that I am feeling sleepy. But if you start like this, you will never know when you went to sleep. You understand? So, comfortable position, upright body, facing forward, gently closing eyes. And you simply do nothing. When you start with doing nothing, the first few seconds your mind will generally be blank. After 5-6 seconds, you will see the thoughts are arising. It's like thoughts are flowing like a waterfall. You simply observe it. The thoughts. And sometimes when there are moments without thoughts, you will start to hear things through your ears. You will start to smell things. You will get sensations through your body. And then again a thought. Whatever happens, you simply observe. You do not have anywhere to go. You don't want to change anything. You simply observe. It's always better to put an alarm for 20 minutes, then you don't have to worry about the time. When the alarm rings, you can stop the meditation. Until that, you observe what happens. Now for a moment, I want you to gently open your eyes. Gently open your eyes. Because I want to give you some further instructions. Now, after doing this for 20 minutes, then the third step is journaling. Keep a notebook. Put the date. Write down the thoughts and sensations which came to your mind during the 20 minutes of meditation practice. Describe it as much as possible. How do you do this? It's like, now you know when you make a movie, you have to write down the script first. But here, we watch a 20 minutes movie and writing down the script late. 20 minutes exercise, 20 minutes meditation, 20 minutes journaling will do the magic. If you can do it continuously, the first few days will be a struggle because you are not used to it. The first 21 days is the hard part. But if you somehow strive hard and do for 21 days, later on it will naturally happen. It will be a natural event in your life. You will wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning at the time that you start. Automatically, you don't need the alarm. You will see just 5 minutes before the alarm rings, you are awake. It happens. But it takes 21 days to get used to it. Right? If you do it for some time, then what will happen? The mindfulness, the muscle will increase. Then what you should do the rest of the day? Nothing. Just do whatever you want.
Like nothing.
Right? Because that strengthened muscle in the morning will help you to do whatever you need during the next 23 hours.
It's kind of like Shavasana at the end of a yoga practice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where you're very relaxed and your mind's somewhere else.
To level up your mindfulness, there are infinite number of practices. Yoga is one practice. You can use dancing for this. You can use music for this. You can use drawing for this. Whatever you do, you can do it. But you have to make sure it is continuous and you are dedicated to it. You are dedicated on what? Dedicated on investing on yourself. Because there is no authority. Do you understand? So this is what I wanted you to know. This is what I want to introduce to you. Because from my own experience that I know, what happens when you develop mindfulness, in the next event that you experience, your reactions will go down and the responses will come up. And when you change, your environment will also change. And you are not in a struggle with your emotions. Next time the anger comes, if you are mindful, the anger you can deal with it and you can make use of it also if you really want, right? Because the emotions are there for our use. Now let's say the fear is one emotion. What will happen if the emotion of fear is not there? You will do reckless things. You think of your safety and you are protected so far because the emotion of fear is there. If someone preaches that emotion of fear should not be there, that is simply bullshit. Right? Because these are basic building blocks of human mind, of our experience. What we have to do is to make better use of it. without letting anger to use us, we are using anger. You understand? Right? What's the time now?
About 7 minutes to 10.
7 minutes. We
To
have.
10, yeah, but
Ah,
maybe only if you have Ceylon.
right. Do you have more time to do some guided meditation?
I have lots of time.
I mean, we can, like, always, like,
Right.
it's like 10.
Yeah, that's right. Because I wanted to introduce you another meditation. You know this is progressive muscle relaxation. Now there are certain situations, now we have been practicing mindfulness, but there may be certain tense situations, right? In such a situation, such days, there is another way that you can calm your mind. This goes to stillness meditation. This goes towards stillness meditation, not vipassana, not mindfulness. Here what we do is, we focus on our body and mentally, when I say now, let's say I will guide you through your body. When I say scalp, what you have to do is, you observe the area of scalp for a few seconds. Then when I will instruct you to tense, then you mentally tense it. Mentally, you just think that it is tensing. Right? Then, after a few seconds, I will ask you to relax, release. Then you mentally release it. Right? So I will start from the scalp and go down through your body. You concentrate on each part, tense it, release it. Tense it, release it. You get it? At the initial stage, I will take you through certain breathing steps. When I ask you to inhale, you simply inhale and exhale. We'll do it for a couple of times, then we go through the body. Right? And when you do a meditation, first thing, what you have to do is you observe your around, and because this is good for your safety, you just look behind, just right and left and see who are next to you. Right? Then you are comfortable. Then, as I said, you have to keep your body posture as usual. Most comfortable position. It's okay? Right.
It's fine.
Right. Most comfortable position. Your body upright. And the chin. Be mindful about the chin. Right? And gently close your eyes. We will go through the guided meditation. Okay? Make your feet grounded. Just observe your body. Go through your body from head to toe and make sure your body is totally relaxed. And make sure that you are sitting in the most comfortable position. If something to be adjusted, your fingers, your feet, this is the time to adjust. Adjust your positions to feel more comfortable. Feel your body. Now I want you to inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Let it happen naturally. Observe your breath. Gently focus on your scalp. Look at the surface area of the scalp. Tense. Feel the tension. Gently release. Feel the relaxation. Forehead. Tense. Feel the tension. Release. Feel the relaxation. Eyes. Tense. Release. Nose. Tense. Release. Cheeks. Tense. Release. Lips. Tense. Release. Ears. Tense. Release. Neck. Tense. Release. Shoulders. Tense. Release. Arms. Tense. Release. Chest. Tense. Release. Stomach. Tense. upper back, tense, release, lower back, tense, release, hips, tense, release, buttocks, tense, release, thighs, tense, release, calves, tense, release, feet, tense, release, toes, tense, release, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, gently open your eyes. How are you feeling?
Rested. Calm.
We did that for a few minutes. So I think we had a wonderful session.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much for your participation, for a very wonderful group. We were originally planning to have this at a temple, but unfortunately we have to shift the place. But this place is also like a temple.
Yes.
So tomorrow is your last day.
Yeah.
I hope you find this country fascinating.
It's been a wonderful trip.
Yes.